It's Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber and Dame John Barrowman. Long overdue, that title. Surely. And while I've got you here, consider yourself at home.
Please.
Consider yourself.
You're not.
One of the family.
Listen, you desperately want to be a Nancy, but you're not one, so shut up.
Come on, Andrew, let me be Oliver.
Do you want to be Oliver?
I think he's more the Dodger.
Can I give him Nancy lessons? I'll give you a couple of Nancy lessons, okay?
What, just like you did to me?
On a desert island.
If you need me, I'll be locked in my dressing room, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. It's the Lord and the Dame from I'd Do Anything. How lovely to have me here. And shall we get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen? I think so. Before we do, and I'm delighted they're on the show because I'm a big fan of both of them, but first, let's catch up on their tireless quest for Nancy on I'll Do Anything.
It just did not excite me. For me, I'm not convinced you're
John,
Nancy.
what can I do to excite you?
I don't know what it is because... well, that's a question a lot of women have asked. Anyway, but...
Will you please welcome John Barrowman and Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, ladies and gentlemen.
Consider yourself at home. We don't want to have no fuss. For after some consideration, we can say, consider yourself. Consider yourself. Come along.
That's a show tune. A show tune. It's great to have you back together. Now, last time you guys were on the show, we should just... I should remind people, the first time that I had John and Lord Webber on the show together, we had Janice Dickinson on the show as well. And she... well, not only was she quite a character, but also she genuinely thought you two were a couple.
Yes.
That's not surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a chemistry.
I do have a ring for Andrew, but it won't fit on his finger.
It's called a Prince Albert.
I can see why you two get along. But
do you know what he does to me before the show?
I don't think we want to know, do we?
Before we go live on air...
It makes you cry, doesn't it?
It winds me up, and I mean, I can't, you know... I'm supposed to be there sort of sitting there as the Lord and all this rubbish. You know, and then I'm looking at these faces. I mean,
I bring tears to his eyes.
But that's a nice thing because it's a difficult job that you find yourself doing because there are people's careers at stake and it's a big thing for the young women involved in this. And I'm sure the responsibility sits pretty heavily on you at times.
No, it does. I mean, the sing-off is, I mean, frankly, very difficult because certainly at this stage in the competition, these are very, very talented young kids.
Well, there are three left in it now. It's the final tomorrow night. I'm very excited about it. But any one of these three could do it, couldn't they?
Any one of these three could be Nancy. The great thing about tomorrow night is we are out of control. The audience votes, and it's whoever the audience favorite is. I mean, before I go any further, really, I get a lot of people coming up to me and saying, oh, I really like, I like Jessie, or I like Jodie, or I like Samantha, and I say, do you vote? And they go, well, no. But then they complain when their one didn't get through. And the point is, you have to vote. It's the audience's decision. We just sit back tomorrow and give some comments, but it's the audience. They'll decide. Because,
certainly up until now, though, it wasn't always the case, because there would be the sing-off and you had the final say, and that must have been pretty tough for you.
I mean, the worst was last Saturday. Last Sunday, on Saturday, Rachel gave one of the best performances we've ever had, and I worked with her on that performance. And yet, once again, she was in the bottom two. And I had that awful moment where you think, I've saved this girl 3 times now. If I save her again, she's going to go next week. I just know it.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
Now, here's the thing. You know what? You obviously believe, you see the talent there. Some of you like more than others, of course. I know you are very heavily involved. You kind of get quite emotionally involved, it seems to me. And what I like about seeing you on TV, and it's quite rare you see this, normally, people who are on TV a lot, we know when the camera's on. And you compose yourself and you look the way. The emotion shines through. I mean, seriously, I know you see that. No, seriously, he's there. And sometimes they're not singing so well, and everyone else is going, and he's going, oh, jeez. And other times, he goes, I've seen you once, just go, what the? And you look over to him normally, and you go, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And you're sitting there going...
The horror now is that when I go to one of these sort of award ceremonies or these boring dinners or one of these things, and they've got a telly on me, but they always look at me, and so I'm listening to these artists who I've got nothing to do with, and I'm having to go...
Yeah.
Now, what happened the week that you didn't agree with the final two being who were in the sing-off at the end, and you walked off?
Well, it's a very difficult situation at the end of the show, and I genuinely thought that neither of them should have been there, and I just felt, it was, well, it was. I was tired.
But I admired that in you. I thought, and that's what makes the show so gripping. You seen that? I'm going to show you that clip with your
but it's
with your
also
permission.
called.
Go on then, show Lloyd Webber having a strop. Let's go, come on.
Lord
I can
Andrew
react it.
having a strop.
Andrew, you must now decide. Neve or Keisha? Who will you save?
First, I'm going to say this is a complete and utter travesty. Neither of you should be in the bottom two. It's completely wrong, and I've been put into a situation that I never wanted to be. And do you know what? For the first time on any television show, I'm angry. I am angry. But I'm going to have to go, I think, now with the majority of my panel, and I'm going to save Neve.
Get out of it, get out. It was off.
The thing was, now, go into the whole thing, because it was Neve and Keisha, and Andrew obviously we got it wrong. He saved Neve. But just to say something in technical terms, hearing that last note, Keisha's got a wonderful voice, but she could never have sung that song 8 shows a week. She was straining to hit the high note. There you go.
And that's difficult, because voices mature at a different time. So you can get a young girl whose voice is completely ready and absolutely there to go.
Yeah.
And you can get one of the same age who, a bit like a racehorse, you keep it for another couple of years. And that's the only way I can... You wouldn't race the horse immediately.
No, you have to train it.
So some of those Nancy's aren't ready for you to ride just yet, is that what you're saying?
I've never been a very experienced jockey. Do you know, the trouble, Jonathan, is I get vertigo if I stand up, so I'm definitely on a horse. I mean, it's not a good idea.
No way.
Or
Okay.
Nancy.
All right, I didn't realise. Now, Cameron McIntosh is the person who will actually be putting this musical on.
He is our man,
It's
yes.
not you. I never knew you guys got along. I thought you guys were bitter rivals. I thought you were like Batman and the Joker or Spider-Man. But it seems to me on screen that you get along just fine. Am I right?
Well, we did do 2 shows together which weren't desperately unsuccessful.
Now, which shows
the
were
Phantom
these?
of the Opera and Cats.
I've heard of both of those.
Yes.
Okay, so
You don't like Cats, I know that.
I don't mind it. It's just too long. You know that.
It's
anyway,
not too long. It's long.
You could take a couple of...
I'm not fond of pussy
when
either.
I gave you that
You did, thank you. Who is the best at putting on musicals, you or Cameron? Who knows the most?
I'm staying out of this one, because I got to work for both of them at some point.
One of you knows more than
It
the other.
depends which side of the century you want to be on.
Okay. Oh, so he can do oldies, you do the new cutting edge
I'm not
stuff.
saying anything. I don't do cutting
Well, there's
edge.
also
The
two
Sound of Music is hardly cutting edge.
But there are also two different... I mean, Andrew is also a composer. Andrew writes his own stuff. Cameron doesn't write his own stuff. Cameron finds composers, and what he does is he nurtures a lot of new composers.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Cameron has been responsible for putting together 3 of the greatest musicals of all time.
That's right.
And he's a good lad.
Which were the 3? Sound of Musicals,
No,
Oliver,
no,
Prince of Darkness,
Cats.
no.
Cats,
Les Miserables,
Les Miserables,
and Phantom.
and the Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how many have you produced? How many of the successful shows have you co-produced or produced? If he's done 3, how many have you?
Well, I co-produced, obviously, Cats and Phantom.
So that's 2, and then
That's 2, and
Stardust?
I've done The Sound of Music and a
Evita,
few
so-
others. And
or a
no,
lot
Evita,
more.
that was before, I didn't produce that.
Yeah, but a lot more than Cameron.
Well, no, he has done major
quite-
successes like The Witches of Eastwick. and
Yeah.
You've had more. Have you had more or less? I mean, if we had to just...
I don't know.
Just for the sake of argument, if we had to tot them up. If I had to put my money on one being better than the other one, which one would I go with?
I tell you what I would do. I would think very carefully, and then I would save John.
The only sane answer. Who's going to be, when the show begins in the West End, who's going to be Fagin? Who do you have cast as Fagin? Who's going to be Bill Sykes? Who are the other ones?
Well, I
Do you
don't know
have
if we
those
should
cast?
mention the other characters, but I know Fagin is going to be
Rowan
Atkinson.
That's an inspired piece of casting.
The
Rowan
other...
has always wanted to play that role, ever since I first known him.
Really?
And he played it at his son's school only a couple of years ago.
But the
Truthfully.
Bill Sykes is somebody who I know television audiences will know.
I bet I can guess.
Go on.
Ross Kemp.
No.
What is a good choice for Bill Sykes? Ross Kemp will be a good one. Okay, can I have another guess?
Yeah.
Okay.